Hello, Durango Realtor Phil here, and I got a question this week from somebody that wanted to know how you can determine what you can do with a piece of land that is vacant, raw land, has not been built on. There are a few things that you want to identify really kind of right off the bat. One is access, sewer, and water. Those are the three biggest things you have to determine right off the bat. So, is access being managed by the state, city, county? Once you understand that, what is your water source? Is it central water provided by the city? Is it provided by a metro district or an HOA? Or are you getting a well? And then sewer, again, are you hooking up to a local municipality that offers sewer? Or are you putting in your own septic tank or sewer plant? Some large developments that are rural, like mobile home parks, need to have their own septic plant basically on site. There's nothing close by to hook up to. So once you've identified those three things, then you decide what type of zoning you want. If you're looking for mixed use commercial or single family standalone build sites, you're going to be obviously looking for different types of zoning because they allow a different use by right. Some areas have zoning, some don't. So again, you may end up calling your county, talking to them, or maybe you're going straight to the city, depending on who is going to govern these things. But once you've determined which government you need to talk to, then often you can go to their website. And what we're looking at here is the Durango City GIS website. And this allows us to look at Twin Buttes, the neighborhood here, the lots that have been created. And if we wanted to pick a single family build site or a commercial or multifamily, then we would come over on the left with the layers and we would open up our community development, go to future land use. We're going to turn that layer on. Twin Buttes has different zoning. It's a planned unit development. So that means that we have multiple types of uses, and the planning is continual until the project is completed because we can make adjustments depending on what happens with market trends. Is absorption better for larger lots or smaller lots, etc. So we can kind of make little tweaks throughout the process of developing out Twin Buttes. With that being said, Twin Buttes, again, all the yellow here is single family zoning. So one parcel, one home. The brown would be multifamily. And then you would look and see what kind of density you have. And then purple is mixed use. So think ground level commercial, second floor residential apartments, or maybe commercial on the frontage of a property with maybe some townhomes in the back. Red is commercial. So keeping it simple here for this conversation and trying to get to the next section here. Once we've identified the zoning, and let's say we were looking for a single family build site, well, okay, now we know where those are. We've got all the yellow. Next, people are going to probably want to know a little bit about the topography. Often everybody wants to get something that's as flat as possible. Southwest Colorado, Twin Buttes, we don't have that much flat land. So you might take the time to look at what your topography is. Click the contours layer and it will put an overlay of topography that you might be dealing with depending on which lot. These are 2-foot contours, so pretty accurate, pretty tight. You can learn a lot from this. When you're looking at a topography map, circles like this are going to be a high point. When you're looking through and you're seeing all of these points coming together, this is a low spot or a draw. So all of this is in a high spot and it's all flowing downhill, if you will, into this draw where the points are, and the points are the bottom of it. This is open space right here for a reason. This is where all the water is going to shed when it rains or when snow melts. So this area is protected. It creates an open space boundary and buffer between lots, but it also protects where the water is going to go and allows it to have a path to the next low spot, to the next low spot, eventually to a creek, then to a river, etc. When the lines get really tight, like for instance, 676 Tipple Avenue, these lines are really tight. This is a pretty steep slope right here. You've got a bit of a finger coming off that's not quite as steep over on this side of the parcel. That might be where your ideal home site would be to build your home. Over here is going to be much more challenging. This is almost straight down right there, to be honest. Okay, so once you've identified the zoning, you feel like you've picked your lot because you've got a sense for the topography and what's easier to work with. At that point, you're going to look at city code or metro district or HOA design standards and guidelines. You're going to need to look through these documents and make sure that you are comfortable with what these set as the standard. Once you've read this document, you have a sense for the topography, you know you've identified where your access, water and sewer and utilities are all coming from, then you should be ready to take the next level of going and potentially writing a contract and starting your feasibility process at that point. Anyways, if you have any other questions, I hope this video is not too long. A lot of information. We could talk about this stuff for hours. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out anytime. You can email me, text, call, DM. I'm easy to find. Just look me up. Phil Schoen, Durango Realtor. Thanks.